All right, and we're live. Welcome, everybody. Everybody who's here and everybody who's going to be here later to the Modulator Bay show, where we talk about music production and all sorts of other crazy things, whatever we want. And this week, along with Hayes Anderson, is kind enough to be on the show with us today as well. And we have a special guest, EyeWillCreate, or I Will, or the Odd Pilot.
Anything
Um,
above
yeah, the hip hop Bob Ross
the hip
right
hop?
here
Yes, sir.
in the house.
Yes, sir.
And what we'll talk about a lot of things, but my main agenda, I must confess, is going to be I want to know everything about Will's modular system because
Okay.
I have not been keeping up at all because I've been so busy, and I'm so curious as to how it's been going and
Sure.
everything like that.
Whatever you want to know.
Yeah. So actually, how about we get started by I want to check the. Oh, there we go. We got John Richardson here. We got Mike Hydropneumatic. Nice to see you here as well. Inky, nice to see you here as always. We got some of our regulars here already. Nice to see you here. Now, I can actually put your little comments up here too, and I will definitely remember to do that this time, although I didn't last time. All right, now actually, I am one thing that really makes your modular case stand out is the fact that it's like this bright red.
Glowing UFO. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's kind of unusual. It's pretty
That's
cool.
what it's about.
So what was your ideas there, and how did you decide to start out? I know you're kind of like more in in the hip hop world and making beats and stuff like that,
hmm
and
Uh,
so
are you sure is my water a problem? Because I can put a mat over that. It's like
I
in my.
honestly can't hear it at all.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Then
Yeah.
I won't say it again. All right. So the modular journey for me pretty much started out because you buy hardware, you learn the synthesis protocols with how it works, how to make your own sounds from scratch,
Hmm.
and then you just evolve a little bit at a time to from a mono synth to a polysynth. This is my experience, going to a
Hmm.
polysynth, and then from a polysynth to something that has a sequencer in it, and then just little bits of growth as I built my knowledge base. And I always knew I would go modular. Like I just always knew.
Uh-huh. Same here.
Back in the day when uh, I was watching Beardy Man, and
Uh-huh.
Beardy Man was just a huge like inspiration for me to get started in making music. Because I've only been making music for a few years. So
Yeah.
when I saw his stuff, I was just like, if I'm gonna make music, I want to build my own machine and do what he does.
Hmm.
Um, so that kind of coupled with some other inspirations I have, like Colin Benders is a huge inspiration for me because he's a good human being and he tries to help other people. I think that's really admirable, and so that's kind of my
Cool.
path, is to try to connect with people using music as a way to bridge the gap between cultures and worlds and just race and whatever. We all have a love for music, and especially right now, there's a real kind of synth nerd takeover, and
Uh-huh.
it's showing up everywhere. So for me,
Totally.
I'm in here trying to laser fools with my synth.
Yeah.
So
Well, I felt inspired by Beardy Man right from the beginning too, because I started out only having an RC505 loop station, a looper,
mhm.
and that's it. And I was like, oh well, I can do music production with this by doing my backing tracks and stuff. And so, but like I confess, I haven't really gotten good at using a looper or anything like that. I haven't gone really that route much since to really use it effectively. But yeah, I kind of started out seeing people online like Beardy Man and others that are just kind of like breaking boundaries that way of like what you can use to do what, and he was doing a lot of looping and stuff like that, and that kind of like brings me to like pretty much like in terms of modular, one of the most popular, if not the like sleeper most popular. If you're a if you're a modular nerd, you know that people are just plain always all about the morphogene,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
Did you have one? Did you?
I did not.
You did
Nope.
not. You were, yeah, we were talking about it before.
Yep. It
So,
was,
oh, and then there's the magneto,
yeah.
and
I own the Magneto.
yeah.
Yep.
No,
Um,
but I seem to remember that you were seeming you were wanting to do some sort of like having the modular help out with that sort of that looping sort of
yeah, that's what I do.
workflow.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I do. So I create my own sounds on the fly, and I build my own productions. I mean, I can produce music in traditional way. Working with a bunch of artists right now. I got a side, B side thing coming out soon. That I'll be announcing that on my YouTube channel, and all this stuff will be on my YouTube channel. But
Cool.
basically, I'm working with artists, hip hop artists, but using this equipment. I don't use any computers when I'm. The only reason I use a computer is to stream. I don't use it for music at all. I don't use a DAW. I don't track out to a computer, nothing. So
Wow. Okay.
everything I
Yeah.
do is here behind me, not in here, not in front of me. The
Hmm.
drums, everything. I sample everything. So I build my own beats. I use my own samples. I don't use anybody's samples unless it's like a piece of rare vinyl, something like what's right here behind me. I just got this 2 days ago
Uh huh.
from Japan. But unless it's something like that, I'm gonna probably make my own sounds.
Uh huh. Yeah. Yeah. That is actually really really impressive and cool, but and also yeah. See, like I have kind of like um I realized that early on too that you can go into a computer, but you're always going to have limitations with anything you have.
Mhm.
The limitations with modular, it's kind of like a computer too, where it's like vast. It's completely vast, but you don't have all of it unless you have something software like VCV Rack or something to play with beforehand. Your limitations in modular are the fact that you don't have all those cool modules that are out there that maybe would help your workflow or something like that.
Maybe I have some pretty cool ones. I could tell you what I have if you want to hear it.
That I'm itching. Yeah.
Okay. So hold on. I'll switch. Let me switch mics, and then I'll be able to tell you better. All right. So, you will be able to see me better over here, I guess. All right. Let me zoom in though, so that I can just make this real easy. And because I mean, if somebody really wants to know this stuff, I'm happy to share it.
Yeah. Well,
All right. So from left to right, get rid of this thing. Okay. It might be a little blurry, but you'll be able to see it all right. From left to right, this is like a little compressor, small, just a small little tiny thing. That one is, oh geez, what the hell is this one called? That's the, I'll have to come back to it. Yeah,
it looks like rings.
it's Rings is right next to it.
Oh.
It's the open source one. The damn, geez, it says it at the top, but my eyes are bad. I can't see it. It's Rings here. I got this is the Ring SM. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this is like a ring module that comes from the Moog type of ring modulation.
Yeah, that's cool.
Then I've got the Moog style, the mini Moog. So this is the mini mod. This is the mini mod ADSR, the DH Magneto. This is the Bafaco performance mixer,
Yeah.
hex mix combination. Then I've got this is like a little mixer. It's a 4-channel mixer. I've got the inamp, which is two quarter-inch jacks and two eighth-inch jacks, so I can get all the signals from my big mixer that's behind me. So I
Uh-huh.
have a lot of cables routed all over the studio. Like that. I got cables under here. You can probably see them. You see all these cables?
Uh-huh. Well, just barely. Your studio's dark enough. That's a good thing about darkening
Right.
your studio a little bit.
And so then I've got what else? The VCO, the Minimod VCO. I've got the Mini mod filter, the regular low pass filter. I got
Mm-hmm.
a VCA, a 6 channel VCA, and then over here I've got the performer, the Modbat modular performer. I've got this is the voltage block. I've got the Poly 2 right here.
Ah,
Bitbox. Um, yeah, Bitbox, right? I just blanked on that. Yes, I bought a synth box and converted it to Bitbox.
yeah,
And this is
that's
the
cool.
SWN, the Wavetable Navigator 6 voice polyphonic module. Yeah, so that's all my modules.
Okay, yeah, the wavetable navigator, that's awesome. And
Mm-hmm.
I also like their spectral wave resonator.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a SWN or no, SWR or
Okay.
something like that. And I played with that just in software, and the software version is just like whoa, blow you away. They are really inventive.
Yeah, it's interesting how it works.
Yeah, I just like how it revolves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that okay, and so the hex mix. How are you liking the hex mix? Is that's working out for you with the three auxes? Are you using any of the auxes or anything like that?
Every day, every time I use it, I have to because I send audio everywhere. So I've got 10 mix outs. I've got
Mhm.
a different mix going to the Force, a mix going to the MPCX, a mix going to the Deluge, a mix going to the Modular. I've got a mix coming to the computer, a mix going to the XL, the 2K XL. And then I've got a mix going to this streaming switcher, which is how I'm talking to you guys.
Uh-huh.
So I've got all these different mixes that I control on the big mixer. And so over here on the hex mix, the expander, I use the first one goes out to Magneto. Channel 2 and channel 3 sends go to the Modbat modular performer. So that all the time I have access to glitching, tape stop, reverb, and delay at my left hand. And then I use the voltage block to control only the Modbat modular performer. So
Okay.
they're together. It's one's the controller and one's the you know
Yeah.
interface.
Yeah, that's excellent. Um,
They're all
yeah,
meeting.
control over your effects is really important, and it took me a while. It's taken me a while to figure it out
Yeah,
in mine. The most complex thing in my modular is not that I'm not actually doing anything complex. I really just have synths and effects, like
right.
full synths and effects. But like it's just routing the sends and returns, and to this I use this matrix mixer to do it,
Hmm.
or I use two mixers together. I use a mixer on the front side of the effects, and then a mixer on the back side of the effects, and then the mixer on the front side sends it past to the matrix mixer for a dry, and then the wet also goes to the matrix
That's
mixer.
good to
And
have both.
that,
Yep.
yeah, but it's pretty simple. But it took me so long to figure just that out.
Right. Well, because of my big mixer, I've been sending audio for about 2 years now. I chop everything live. I In an hour, I make about 3 or 4 beats, and I entertain at the same time. So come on over and check out one of the live streams. I'm sure you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, yeah. So you live stream a lot. I've caught a few, and mostly after the fact. But but yeah, and that's also just really inspiring to me because I kind of had taken a bit of a break from it, mostly due to computer issues
Yeah,
and computer limitations and stuff.
pain in the
And
butt.
and we had talked about that when you introduced me to StreamYard, this
Hmm.
streaming system
Yes.
here.
Yep.
At that time, you had you were going with two computers, and you were working in Ableton and stuff still,
I was.
and working on your own looper system within
Yep.
Ableton,
Yep. And
and
I did. I built that. Yeah.
that was cool.
It was
And
pretty
so
cool.
yeah, so kind of like what's brought you to kind of like put that aside and move over to the real,
Mastery.
just all the
Mastery.
uh-huh.
Mastery. Complete mastery. That's it. It's just what it's about. So if I can't if I can't do it all without a computer and without practice, I have to be able to just jump in the studio and do what I want to do without any hesitation and without any conflict. I don't want to worry that I'm going to make a mistake, and I don't want to worry. I just want to have that complete control. So that's, with Ableton, you're waiting on a computer, and you have buffering issues. You got so many factors that have to work right for you to be able to be able to control an entire multi-tracked track, because that's the goal, is to perform it and record it in multi-stems all at the same time. So if you're using a computer to do the lifting, then you can't multi-track it as good because you're always having issues. So if I use the computer just for the streaming, this is an i9, 9900K, big boy,
that's a big boy.
It can handle it, but I send everything to the mixer on its own, on its own mix, and then I combine all the sources there so that I can either put them all into a single track, or I track everything out right to the force. So I don't use a computer at all.
I've currently decided that I am going to use a computer for recording multi-tracks into it, as opposed even to using, like, I was looking at the Model 12 and the Model 16, the Tascams, where they're mixing desks that are the interface as well, and they work just fine that way. Obviously, Audio Surgeon can attest to that a lot, but the thing is, I've just kind of decided that I want to go ahead and just do the interface thing. But that's the thing, is that I've been looking at DAWs, once again, with fresh eyes, just to see, which are the best for just the mixing and the mastering, which will, offer me the most in terms of like what I like to do and how I like to do it. And I just started out Cubase, and I'm really liking it. But of course it's just recording into it, and I don't have my multi-tracking into anything yet. And so I still am just doing this single stereo out. But I think at my point in in music making, I don't need the multi-track yet.
Right. Oh, so it's all stages, It's all just like I was saying, like from the synthesis, learning how it works. It's just a natural progression. So if that's in the cards for you, then you'll get there, man, when you're ready for that, So I have nothing against anybody that uses computers. It's just, for me, it's just the way I get the most hands-on satisfaction for the finished product, because I don't have to stop there's always something with the computer, always. So it's a buzzkill, So I want to just be efficient and just, do what I want to do. So there's a lot of stuff within a computer that is useful in a DAW, especially, but especially if you don't have effects. Ableton's awesome for effects. And a lot of people in ModBap, they use Ableton for the effects. So.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing, is I a couple of my synths lack effects and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, well, I could always use something like that.
You guys want effects? Yeah. I can get you some effects.
Yeah.
Mad Max. Pardon me for saying, I got audio difficulties all of a sudden.
Are you having trouble hearing?
No trouble hearing. I was actually having trouble hearing myself just then.
Oh, okay.
It's a long story. I've got 3 patch bays, and one of them had a module that was broken, and I just kind of put like a wire across it and try to fix it. I've got some effects running, sorry. You can probably hear that. And anyways, that is the one that gives me trouble. Sometimes when I hit it too hard with the signal, it will pop out the left channel.
Mm-hmm.
I got this thing. If this is fun, I can put that on it, or I can do something like that. Let's go. I'm the only one? Okay. All right.
Can I show you guys what is probably going to be the coolest guitar pedal in the next couple of years?
The which one?
This thing right here.
I was just looking at that.
Are you kidding me, really? This is called the Analog Swarm.
Uh-huh.
I really should have had something set up for you, man. It probably wouldn't be hard for me to do, but just to run a drum machine through this thing. is ridiculous. It's a 2-octave harmonizer fuzz.
Do you guys want to hear Magneto? I mean, I have it, like, I can just play it right through the stream, or
Sure,
I mean,
of course.
you guys
Yeah, absolutely.
tell me what you want me to do. I mean, I can
So,
do it.
well, actually, I kind of wanted to remember everything that the Magneto does. Like, I know that it's kind of like a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Like, does it actually take like samples and keep them?
Yeah. Well, no, I
Yeah.
don't know about keeping them.
Or I mean, as a certain amount at a time.
I can sample with it. I use it live, so it works for sampling. Yeah. You can probably save it. Not sure how. I never needed to, but you can sample with it. You can loop with it. You can. It's got reverb and delay and all the tapes and everything, and the crinkle and the old age, and there's all kinds of cool stuff with it. There's a lot. It can actually, I can lock it into place. I can scratch with it, like if I was a DJ on the turntables, I can scratch with it. I can do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. I just got the tape effects basically from the Tip Top Z-Verb module that I just got, and that has just totally changed the game. Like, yeah, I would like to hear a little bit of the Magneto, but if you have a couple I already have it. I could show you right here. This is what the what is it? Fidelity knob does on the Z-Verb. Oh shoot, it's not on that. It's only on my effects. So yeah. Here, it's on my ambient sounds here. You can hear this is the original sound, and then it goes like, and if there's of course I don't have a beat going through it, but if there's a beat, it like really does amazing things. Just putting it, and you can put it at a spot and not know that it's wrong, and then go back up to the normal, and then really tweak it. It's just crazy. But yeah.
I think effects make everything sound great. I mean, that's going to be probably one of my new challenges, is to not use effects. That makes any sense. Seriously, because I use them.
I'm
so
not
much
interested
now.
in that challenge. But yeah, that's
a
cool.
large challenge.
Well, I've been watching a lot of Steve Albini videos lately for some reason, and he doesn't. I mean, he's a very, very smart person. He knows what everybody wants, and he does what, to accommodate and so forth. But for his own taste and everything, he's very natural and kind of pure in that sense. And it's kind of neat sometimes to just, you will find great stuff if you dig for it. And sometimes it is really cool just to try to find like that resonant balance between different instruments that you're mixing together without having the effects. Kind of cheat in a way. Now, don't get me wrong, I will cheat all day long because I love to cheat, especially when it makes things sound better.
I don't think it's cheating.
Yeah, everything you do is just a part of the process, part of the synthesis process.
I only say it's cheating because a lot of times I can sit back and I can be very, very lazy, and I don't have to necessarily investigate a melody line or a groove any further. I just add the right effect to it, and boom, it's done.
That's true.
But, maybe that's, less is more. That's what everybody taught me my whole life.
Yeah, that's what they do say, though. They say not to use less sounds and more well, I don't know who says this, but I've actually experienced that the less sounds I use and the more space I give stuff by affecting it, the better it sounds. If you have more content in there and then you put effects, it starts to get crazy. But if you use very little content and just affect it, it always sounds good to me. So something I'm learning anyway.
Yeah, one specific thing that I've found that I like better when a being certain sounds and how they are, is that I like less decay and more reverb to make the decay. A lot of times on a sound, I'll turn the decay a little bit down and the reverb up, and it's like, wow, it's more like a ding, and sometimes can make more space and hit you not so hard, that sort of thing.
Yeah, reverb does kind of what it says it does. It pushes things back into the mix.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it if it's hitting me hard, as long as, well, that sounded crazy, but I'm just saying, as far as the whole audio situation goes, that stuff, if it's in the right place, I don't mind if it's like loud or whatever. It just has to have the right kind of, I don't know, it has to be in the right spot for me. It's like, not right on the beat, but if there's something that's kind of crazy and it's a little bit between the beat, it always sounds different. Doesn't it? It sounds intentional. If you do it on the beat, for some reason, it sounds unintentional. But
yeah. Exactly. But yeah, I'm using the quantization as much as most of the time, just full quantization.
Oh,
but
yeah.
a
We
lot
talked
of
about this last time. I'm definitely a fan of the grid in that regard.
yeah, I don't use any quantize at all, at all.
Yeah, that's
So,
awesome.
I play all the parts in and stuff, and I don't quantize anything, but it's just the way I like it. So, but
I'm a drummer. I've like learned how to like do that for like support a band. Basically, you are the clock in that sense.
Yeah, yep.
And I get it. I understand. Wanting to get away from that. But there is something about having a really, really solid pocket, no matter what. Like I don't care if people use the grid or if they don't use the grid. If the pocket is there, then I think that it's really going to be like a really strong groove, even if it's
or like
one
just
that you've
the
already
kick.
heard before.
Right. Yep. I agree.
Can you hear that reverb in my voice by any chance?
I can't.
Okay, good. I'm not going to worry about it. I can hear it, and it's kind of. I'm wondering, why am I hearing this right now? I've got everything turned down on this track, but
I'm currently working on what I thought would be a hip hop album, but I'm just gonna release singles as I go. But it's not really hip hop. It's just, I would call it chill beats. I don't know how to quantify, but I've found myself really getting a little bit more more perceptive about what it takes and what's involved in the elements of a good beat. And there's a lot of things that I just
Let me know.
I'm rough and I don't think about yet.
Right.
Things like the hi-hat, just tweaking things, compression and panning is something I don't think about a lot.
Well, if it sounds unbalanced, then it probably is.
Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely say try to pan things out of the center spectrum until it sounds like. In general, that is the essence of drums. If you notice something really particular, you might want to bump it back, because eventually it's going to just kind of keep. It needs to be something that makes you want to jump up and down, not something that makes you want to turn it down.
Yeah, that's hard. I never know whether the hi-hats are too loud or not. I don't know how to mix a beat. Like, I put it out and I realize it kind of sucks.
Then just keep making more and keep making more and keep making more.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then it's just at that point.
Maybe we're critical of ourselves, of course, but
yes. And you know how to read music, right?
yeah.
You can get some drum books, believe it or not. And I'll take some drum books that I have that I've used over the years, and I'll take some of the grooves out of them, and I'll just play around with those grooves and see how that works. Some of them don't work very well in a 4/4 structure because they don't have a strong emphasis on the one, and they tend to have more of an emphasis on the E's and the U's. So it's really bizarre. It's like you have to have it's a really subtle type kind of thing to work with, and I've been playing around with those, and a lot of times it's like they work really great with Latin type kind of music, because Latin you can get that sort of like release from the one, like where you're not always having the one. Yeah, it's like doom doom. It's like the bass drum is usually on the E and the and then like the next and. It's a weird little drum beat.
Yeah.
And,
I like a lot of those South American, Brazilian, different kind of beats that I've heard. I don't know how to.
And
really
everybody knows what the clave is. It's like the Brooklyn triplet, like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I have that on the organ. It's.
Yeah, that beat right there goes 1,000 miles for you right there, and that is one where you can actually leave the one off the bass drum. So yeah, next time if you do like a Latin type kind of thing, try leaving the one off the bass drum, and then I guess for the choruses, put it back in.
Okay.
Sorry, if you want to talk drums and drum beats and And
could
I
show
really
you, but I can't
appreciate,
talk because I don't
Will,
know
that you don't use samples, that you make your own.
Yeah, I
I
do.
really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I think it's important for me to have something that's only mine, that nobody else, and I share them actually, but that I made, and people take them and they use them in their own beats and stuff. I got a little Discord group and they love it. We just did our first beats and bass episode 2 weeks ago. So last night was the second episode and it was awesome. Probably had 15 or 20 people there and just a lot of like engagement. It was really fun. So everybody was just having a good time and I was in there just tearing it up, and it was fun. So that's what I like to do, is just to enjoy the moment and, let it go where it goes.
Yeah, I kind of felt like this year is the year for me to branch out and reach out to more people and do some more just finding people and showing people off and doing jams with maybe with people and so that we, like you say, you've got a Discord group that's getting active and in and of its own, and that is a golden thing,
Yeah,
for the whole internet, not just for you.
right.
you know
Yeah, it is. Discord is great. It's a great place to have a little side area that people that are kind of like-minded can cooperate, so it's good. Can't do everything on YouTube. You kind of have to have like a place to get together and stuff like that. Discord is like the perfect place for that. The only thing is I wish we could do videos, but it's all right.
I mean, like live videos on Discord?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I use AvidMux to downgrade videos so I can post them on Discord, but yeah, live, no way.
I would love to be able to have a private sessions for the guys that really like to come in and do stuff, because
I thought they did have that. I guess not.
they might, but I didn't think that there was an ability to do live streaming inside Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there might be contention there because I think they just want to be the chat service or the community service for Twitch anyways. They want you to use Twitch for that. I could be wrong though.
They barely give you any to post the pictures and stuff. It has to be a certain, format, and it's like some pictures don't post because they're too big, and I don't think there's much there to work with on that end. But it's perfect for the chatting and even calls, like to voice, speak to each other over group speaking things, and so that's what I use it for. Kind of like I get to post the links there to the new samples for the next week. I take the vinyl stuff that I get and I post a single sample in there, and everybody takes the sample and does something with it different, and then I play it live, and then I do my own session with the sample afterwards. So it's fun. It gives everybody a chance to participate, and then I play their music, and it's nice just to relax with good people that are all kind of like-minded. That's what it's about. Just like this, or some of the other channels, Geosynths and Ranzi and the other guys, it's same thing, just a place to congregate and talk about similar topics.
Yeah.
And is it mostly in your group is mostly like beat making and stuff like that?
Yeah,
in
most of them are like producers that have been doing it for like 30 years. I mean, like they've got their own record labels and stuff like that. So
cool.
Yeah.
And see, that's the thing for me, and the whole hip hop genre and all the subgenres and in general is just that I feel like while I'm trying to make it too, I feel like it's in a way it's mainstream radio. If that's all you got, you get the feeling like it's all been done before. With beats, you can make a beat, and whatever beat you make, it's been done before. So. So I feel like that's like a freeing idea. So I can really just do anything, not thinking about how anyone does anything, and just lay it down free birthed from nothing, from all the universe, whatever I want to do, total freedom, and that makes the best beats now because everything's been done before. That
I just did a live stream right before I came here, and I did I used the SWN. This is like an hour ago. I used the SWN and I just morphed some crazy thing and had the drums, did my own drums, and then just worked it, worked it into something. So yeah, starting with nothing, not everybody can do that. And I've been a part of some other things and I've been excluded from other things. And so for me, it was just about knowing that I could go into a place and give my best effort with a certain amount of time given. If ever I had
Mm-hmm.
an opportunity to go to a place and show what I could do, that I could do it.
Right. Yeah. I'm kind of struggling with that too, to be able to go and join a group um, that's playing on hardware synths and doing at the least 2 hour long shows. Um, uh, and it goes to the next person and the next person and everybody, and it's kind of like a big event thing. Like to do something like that, I really feel like I've got to be, like better than I am now or something like that. But
For the improv, it's,
it's
like
all
that's for me.
fear in a way.
Yeah, that's for me is like I'm all improv, so I don't have any material to start with, so I can do it anywhere. If I
From
as long as
scratch.
yep, as long as I got that box and my deluge and my MPC, I can go anywhere and do anything for an hour or two, and just
Hmm.
and just go without stopping. So
Honestly, that's the thing is when I watch your streams, I then stop and go jam.
yeah, I hope so. I hope that's my hope.
So it works.
My
You
hope.
really it works to inspire me with the fact that okay, you know,
Good.
I got all this stuff here. Like, why am I afraid?
It's intimidating, but you put in the hours. I did some calculations. I think I'm at like 9,000, 9,100. So you get to those like 10,000 hours, you really do start feeling good. Saying it really is true. So just keep working, wherever you're at.
Hmm. Speaking of wherever you're at, how's things been on the whole wor- on the world crisis front?
Oh, well, for
Uh,
me, I'm in the basement anyway, so
yeah, yeah. So it's
it
kind of
hasn't
for
looked
us.
much different for me. But,
Yeah.
my
Has everything
family,
been going all right with friends and family and whatnot?
no. But as far as like what I talk about publicly, I'm all right. I'm good. My family's good. And
Keep on keeping
politics
on.
aside, everything's perfect. So
Hmm.
we'll just, we'll eventually there'll be a better time and everybody will be a bit happier. Right now, it's just crazy and we're all just trying to get by.
Yeah,
So,
totally. Yeah, we're real stir crazy over here.
This
Yeah.
has been the worst month for me, creatively, definitely by far.
yeah.
But it will pass.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I think I'm glad that what I did before this year started is I just ramped up about like 20 some jams, really like short ones, and I've just been working with those now this month, and that's been enough, you
All
know.
you can do is show up. All you can do is show up. If
Hmm.
you show up all the time, it's like Brene Brown. She says that all the time. She's a very inspiring person to listen to. She talks about that stuff. If you don't show up, you're guaranteed an L, which is a loss. If
Uh-huh.
you show up, you at least have a chance to win. So
Yeah, that's all it is. It's that moment where you say yes.
hmm
Where
Most
you say all
definitely.
right.
And, I just invite, I mean, here's the thing. I can't tell people how to get creative and how to, find that spark and the inspiration and so forth. I mean, a lot of that does come with a weird kind of balancing of gas. And then once you finally hit that point to where you're just like, okay, that's it, I'm done, I'm not buying any more stuff. Then you start to plateau with what you have, and you start to like realize, you don't hit a saturation point, but you do sort of like, spread out. You've used everything. Start to the point where like, okay, now I want to get more stuff,
Uh,
and that's like, no, stop. No, I broke that rule with all these guitar pedals, but I think I circumvented that kind of whatnot. Just stay away. But I mean, okay, so like you want to start a jam and you don't know where to start. It's like, do you have something that can automate an arpeggio? And do you
hmm.
have something that can get like a bass kind of guitar going and a drum beat? And a lot of times it's like, that's all you need to kind of really get started. And where
yep.
I get into trouble though with improving like that is I'll start, with an arpeggio, and I'll get something else, and then I won't actually know what key or what notes I just used. So when I want to go like adding more parts, I'm like, whoa, where's the notes? And
I'm
I
on
think
my ear. I think that's why it works for me, because I just jump from one thing to the other, and I kind of know because I've been doing it and doing it and doing it. So my stuff is pretty close to set up where I want it anyway. So I just jump on something else and just dial it in. It's part of the process. I'm not going to like hit a perfect note every time, but I'll get it
yeah.
dialed quick.
Oh, sure, sure, sure. Same here, same here.
The
But
arpeggiator thing is a good point too. You start out with something with movement, always helps.
hmm the next thing I'm looking to do is to figure out how I can get like a separate audio channel from any one synthesizer just to like an earbud,
Hmm.
so then I can hear it before I patch it into the mix.
Yeah, yeah, that's what my mixer does. My rack mixer, my Bafaco, it does that. I got a cue on it, so I can hear what's going into my ear before I send it to the feed.
Mine does it. I just got to figure out how to work it yet now.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I'll go ahead. I don't have anything in the description right now, unfortunately. I'm sorry about that. I'm bad so far at a few of these details of running a show, but
How
but
about just chatting?
yeah. Shortly after this is over, there will be in the description. I'll get the Odd Pilots info in there. Your Bandcamp.
No, I don't have anything on
Yeah.
Bandcamp, but you're gonna have to wait a
Okay.
couple weeks.
Okay. Cool. And yeah, definitely the YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, you
Uh,
can find me, guys. It's not it's
yeah.
no problem. You can find me, I'm sure.
Okay. Yeah. I just got a question about your Bandcamp in the chat. But
About
yeah,
2 or 3
definitely.
weeks, and it'll be free probably. So just keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, and I've started doing that as well, and it just really kind of like it's kind of a wake up call how easy it is to get yourself out there. Um, because I'm kind of trying to. I'm always thinking about getting my daughter like all of the info and the tools she needs to succeed online when she gets older and stuff like that, and it's inspiring.
It's good information to know.
Yeah, we can get on Spotify and all the other things all in one ticket. I've made a few pennies, and it's just kind of like it's kind of nice. It feels good, um, even though I don't do this for a living or anything like that. It's just like, oh yeah, I'm appreciated, even though so I'll always put things out for free.
Right.
I wonder though about you say that people are using your beats, and um, that's the kind of a question I have about DistroKid and the whole idea of like click the all rights reserved,
Hmm.
you know, or the I don't, actually I forgot whether it was DistroKid or Bandcamp I'm talking about here, but you, okay is DistroKid. Whether you make it all rights reserved or whether you make it a thing that people can use. And I keep the YouTube content ID from flagging off on my stuff that I put out, so I can put versions of it on YouTube. But like, I think yeah, like what's the I kind of wonder like what should I do it all rights reserved or should it be for everybody to use? I don't know.
Totally up to you.
I don't know.
Totally up
Exactly.
to you. I'm personally not trying to make a living from music. I do this because I love it, and so for me to connect with other people and give them a piece of something I made, for them to even want it, for me is like payment, because
Yeah.
it means that I'm making something that is interesting enough for somebody that they want to incorporate it into their music, and that to me is an honor.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's just personal, though. I mean, you should, if you are doing this and putting in the hours, and this is your goal, is to get paid in some way to help feed your family, then you should absolutely take every advantage you can if you think you can get some, compensation for it.
Yeah.
Personally,
Not sure about that. I'm not sure about music that way. In compared to other things like merch, for instance, or like selling a product or something like that.
right?
I think yeah, I think music is good free, like free form. I mean, and just to keep it how it is. I always say like that music is just naturally free. So copyrights are kind of like a natural, even though we deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
We argue about whether or not they're cool or not, but
Oh, man,
all in all, I think it's kind of just a natural. So it feels weird for me to go all rights reserved on this thing, even when I feel like I might have just made a beat that was just like everybody else's because it wasn't really that unique or anything.
Well, you're gonna want to, copyright your stuff and all that when other people are gonna want to take it and make money with it. You're not gonna want to take money out of your own pocket, but like if I ever get to a point where people are coming into the Discord just to get the free stuff because it's so good, then I probably need to think about what I'm doing, because then I'm actually not even helping other people. I could actually be taking that money and helping other people with it, even if I don't need it. I could be helping other people.
That's a
with
point.
it.
Exactly. So I mean, I took a copyright law class when I was in college. Excuse me, and it's a necessary evil, because on one hand it is restricting, and it's kind of this sort of like power to sort of just restrict, but on the other hand it's defense. It's defense against the sharks that are out there right now and won't go away.
Mm.
And exactly like Will said, I mean, it's if you get to the point to where people are like using your stuff, then it's like it's probably time to re-strategize your market value on that regard. Seriously, that's the way I've always looked at it myself. As soon as somebody's like taking my stuff and I'm having to come after them for whatever reason, then maybe at that point, my music is something that like that the popular culture, whatever, will want to listen to. But I've never really cared to be part of the popular culture at all.
Yeah,
So a lot of what I'm doing is actually trying to do the opposite. Like whatever is popular, I'm trying to stay away from it. Which may sound kind of weird, but I just really want to stay as far away from what most people think that they want to hear right now as possible. Because to me, it's like you're not going to find anything new right there. The new thing had already been found a couple months, and now everybody's just kind of chasing it.
And the underground hip hop community is where it's at, in my opinion, as far as like the music that is being made is not, this is stuff that you think you would hear, 20, 30 years ago, which is interesting because we got all this new technology, but people are using the new technology in the same ways that they made music back in the day. It was taking records like this and sampling them, taking the instrumentation, using it for their own beats. Now, here we are. And I'm using my own instrumentation, which is this rack, to make flutes, to make bass lines with my MS-20, with all this stuff. And it's the same premise. It's just an updated kind of workflow with updated technology. But the premise is still the same. Chop it up just like they do. Use your pads and chop up all the samples, and then you play them. But all the samples are mine, so I never have to worry about being copywritten. It's all my stuff.
So the power of a sampling workflow. Yeah.
Do you ever sequence anything with MIDI by any chance?
Yeah, that's all I use is MIDI. I mean, MPC is MIDI, so you're using your pads to slice up the audio, but then you're just triggering MIDI. And the Deluge is MIDI'd up to, actually everything in here is MIDI'd up to the Mio 10. Mio 10 is sent to my Poly 2. So even my rack is MIDI'd up to all the rest of my gear.
And the rack, I'm guessing that Bitbox has a big part in what you do.
I don't use it right now, but
really,
it could.
Okay.
I could use it to loop if I wanted to, or use clips and stuff like that. But the workhorses are the MPC, the Force, and the Deluge. Those are the workhorses. Those are on everything I do, every single track. Those three. I use them in conjunction with each other.
This is my workhorse right now.
Yep, the Pyramid.
The Pyramid. And I'm in love with this thing.
That's all you need. MIDI it up. That's all you need.
It took me a long time to figure it out, and I've still got a long ways to go. Like I'm still not even scratching the surface on this thing.
I like the drum machine that they make too.
The Hermod, what's it called again? Something like that.
But it looks like an MPC. It's got the pads, like the 16 pads. And you can play the CV right from the pads. It's pretty cool.
The only thing I don't like is I don't like the pads. They could be worse. They're very quiet. They're very stiff.
Okay, yeah.
But they have a like when you push them in, then when you're back out, there's kind of a delay there, like
push
a
is like
resistance.
I feel like my push is like that a little bit, like a little stiff, but the MPC is feels good, you know.
But what's great about these things, and what like something that Roland always has a hard time doing is, and I don't know that a lot of people do this, but what I'll do is I'll sling MIDI into this thing from other devices, and it works really well for that. Like the I'm already forgetting what it's called, the BeatStep Pro. I haven't used it in so long. The BeatStep Pro was wonderful about accepting MIDI coming in and matching the tempo, of course, and just like starting right when that first note comes in, and just pretty much getting it, nailing it, whatever you throw into it.
I pretty much just use the Deluge for all my MIDI purposes because I can play the parts on my Prophet. Like I can take out the Prophet Rev 2 and I can play my parts in, and the Deluge will just record the MIDI as I'm playing it, and then it'll just play it right back. So I don't have to route anything. I don't have to play it from the Deluge. So everything is all mapped. So if I want to play, the Mini Nova, all I got to do is put MIDI track 15 on my Deluge and hit record, and I play the Mini Nova, and it records it just like a DAW and plays it right back. No latency. I don't have to worry about, the computer slowing down on me. It's just the preferred workflow for me. I guess the Deluge would be my MIDI hub, but the MPC's got like the best screen. You can like see all your MIDI tracks. You can name them, all your inputs. Like I've got like 50 friggin' MIDI inputs on my MPC that I can choose from, which is amazing. But
I don't even need to see them, tell you the truth. I'm okay. I mean, this has the same thing. You can see your tracks, but I don't need to see them really.
No, as long as I see a little light over there blinking, I'm okay.
Yeah, I
can
just
see
reminded.
which tracks are armed.
Yeah.
I was just reminded about the MPC again, and got interested and watched some videos just this last week because the Roland, what is it? The MV, the verse, whatever, the groove box. That's Roland just came out with a new groove box, and it looks like kind of like an MPC.
Oh, new to me.
It's for sampling. No, I mean sampling in your voice. It's focused on vocals, so it has all these vocal effects.
Oh, that one, yes.
But really, it's just your basic groove box, and the pads are set up NPC wise. But no big screen to do stuff on. So it's like, okay, you're gonna sample in it. You're gonna do verses of, or even a song, right, of your voice in there, and other samples, whatever other samples you want, right? But you can't do anything with it because it's got this little screen, and there's gonna be no sample edit, like, and there's no time stretch. So like,
I mean, the Deluge doesn't have a screen either, but I sample with that. It's
and that's really made to have everything work without screen, except for like when it came out, it didn't have that waveform view, but now it does.
Yeah,
and that's cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's perfect for me.
Yeah. So yeah, and I'm always looking for like the big whole solution sort of thing, but I did order an SQ64 sequencer, so I have a bit of a smaller studio, so I kind of realized, and I minimized a bit, and I realized that's all I'm gonna actually need. Is just I'll do all my sequencing on the SQ64, which is kind of like a BeatStep Pro sort of thing. But and a couple from the MC101, because I've now just got this and learned, just gotten in and learned how easy and good the MC101 sequencing is. It's not bad. It's not bad to sequence in, so I'm not afraid of it anymore. And it actually does chain patterns now.
I want to ask you a couple questions about that. I want to show you this first, though, if I can angle it right. Anybody remember this thing?
No, I don't.
This is like 1994. Oh, this thing was state of the art, man. It even has like this awesome data card. It holds 8 megabytes. 8 whole megabytes. Yeah. Anyways, look at this tiny screen right here.
Is that a MIDI machine?
No, it's a sampler.
Okay.
It's a sampler, and it's got, it was like, kind of meant for DJs. You can trigger things with MIDI.
Which one is it?
This is the MS1. I used this in my band back in the 90s with my drum set. What's that?
Which company?
Roland.
Roland? Okay.
Yeah. So you're talking about like the new Roland Groove Box, sampling for vocal effects and so forth. and these tiny screens. It's like, well, I can't point. Sorry. I mean, Roland historically, kind of has been like, well, it's good enough for you. For this one, in order to trim samples, you had to use your ear. I mean, you only had like numbers, like the micro, milliseconds.
Yeah.
So you had to use your ear to kind of like figure out, and then you could put it in the loop and you just kind of get it until it finally had a good groove. But it doesn't surprise me that Roland. I mean, you also have to understand, like a lot of the limitations. I was thinking about that earlier, just before we started this, was that in every single piece of gear that I have, there is some kind of critical limitation. One critical limitation that you wish wasn't there that you could get past. Mm-hmm. But there it is, and you'll never get past it.
It always does. That's
why you need 3 like me. So you can get everything.
And now that I'm like building stuff, I have a lot more appreciation for that, because you start to realize, oh, there's no way I can fit that in there.
Yeah, I
have to start over.
The MPC is the only one that will live chop in real time. So I can chop samples as I'm making the sounds. I can actually chop them at the same time, so that I can trigger my drums to stop, and then I can continue playing the pads with no break in the action.
That's cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. And so there's that. And then I use the deluge to send the loop. So I make the loop using the deluge, and then I send the loop to the MPC and chop it live. Then I shut off the loop and play back the parts, record that on the MPC, record that, played back pad. And then I go to a bass line and whatever, and then I'll send it back over to the Force and then sequence clips. And then when I get a scene that I like, I'll send that back to the MPC and chop that, and then combine those with the deluge in a separate track. So it's like at the end of it, I have all the parts and pieces all in separate tracks, and then I just export them out as resamples.
Yeah, so so Hayes is talking about hopping MIDI between over into things, and so you're hopping audio across, right?
Yeah, and MIDI both.
And MIDI both.
Mostly audio. Yeah.
That's cool. See, I do that with the circuits. They hop the audio over, hop the MIDI over just really easy. I did that on accident. Had the same part on both the 101 and both circuits like show up in one of the tracks on each one. I'm like, dang it! Wasn't supposed to. I had to turn off the MIDI notes.
The circuits are like infamous. When I was using the circuits, they are infamous for sending MIDI when you don't want it to. It's not that it's doing it on purpose. It is always like, when I turned mine on, it was always sending on default. So I always have to go in and hold save and turn it back on and let it, So, but yeah, I know what you mean by that.
They might have fixed it in firmware. This was my fault, but yeah, it's kind of but it actually just opened me up to go like, all right, I can do that as a thing on purpose, because it was really easy to do, and then so I did it on purpose for my other parts, just because I'd rather, I actually ended up for my last few songs, it's like I have this mono station here. It's like a bass synth, right? But now I used one of the circuit parts for bass parts, because it's got some good bass on here too. And then the mono station I used to just sequence the System 1, not the mono station. So you don't even hear the mono station, even though it's a great synth.
Right.
I just, you use one thing for another thing because it works.
How many tracks can you sequence out of the mono station?
2. You didn't used to be able to, but now, see, what I can do is I can have, you go shift sessions, and you can switch the CV out. That's just the mod one. To the mod sequencer. So whatever you have on the mod sequencer that would just be sequencing a mod thing is now a note CV sequencer for either coming out of sequence 1, sequence 2, or whatever you have on the mod sequencer. It can be, so it's like it's just another one. I just did a really bad job of explaining that. I'm sorry.
Well, I think I understand. I mean, I kind of miss the old way that I was doing things, where I was just using the BeatStep Pro to handle 3 tracks, and everything else was like, I would have to have program it on that device itself. And it's weird because like it's hard to figure out where to go, where to start. because it's like, like just you have like a wide, vast array of anywhere you want to go. Whereas before, I kind of had like limiting my choices. Like, okay, I'm just using these synthesizers. And I guess that's what I'm going to have to do. It's like the same thing with the cards for modular. I just have to like make up some cards or write a little program that will randomly select a few synths, and just like I'll just have to stick with those, like 5 synths or something.
Yeah. So there's those set of cards that have like instructions like do this and do that, and then whatever
one of them is
whatever you
use
pick
every
up.
cable you have.
Game. Yeah. Yeah. But I got a few minutes left. If there's anything you want me to play or hear, if you want me to, if you wanted to hear an effect or something like that, if anybody here wants to, just let me know, because I got a few minutes left. If that's something you want me to do.
Well, yeah. If we got a few minutes left, how about could we just play out?
What do you mean?
Well, no, I don't know. If you wanted to, you could just play us out with something or whatever.
Oh, you want me to just mess around real quick? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, whatever. It's fine.
I've got one that I just made on before I came here. It's already sitting right here. I can just hit play.
Sweet.
If you want.
Yeah. So I just want to say, Jelly Duck, it was nice to see you here. Benjamin Ezo is here again, and Inverted Popes, nice to see you.
Thanks for stopping by, guys.
Yeah. And how long did we go this time?
About an hour.
Looks like an hour.
Yeah. Not bad at all. So it's about lunchtime for me. So.
Oh,
so
it's a pleasure
really nice
being and talking with you, Will. Thanks again.
Oh, no problem. Nice to meet you guys. Well, I've already known Mr. Basic. It was nice to meet you today. And we'll see you again, I'm sure.
Yes, definitely. Thanks.
Yeah, and you guys in here stop by in about 5 minutes or so. I'll have things on the description 5 minutes afterwards. That'll be cool.
No problem.
But if you just start up a beat or something, I could even like maybe play along a little bit or something. And we'll see y'all on the flip side. We'll do about 5 minutes, something like that. I don't know.
That was not me.
Just so you know, I can't hear you, so you'll just be able to hear me, I think.
Mm-hmm. No latency music on StreamYard.
Still there?
Still here.
Okay.
All right.
That was nice. Thanks, dude.
No problem. No problem.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah, guys. See you later. See you next time.
Take
Next
care, y'all.
Saturday.
Thanks again.
See ya.
Bye-bye.